Okay, just like to welcome everyone here today. My name is Anthony Casey, I'm the party president of Ireland First. So, I apologise for the lack of communication lately. We're just building the party still, we're restructuring it. We have a whole new way of going about things that's quite unique to Ireland First. Myself, Martin Murphy, Sarah Herity, Frank Conway, Paul Fitzsimons, we're on the AC of the new Ireland First, and we took a big dig into what Ireland needs right now. It's a new way of politics. We all know what's going on in this country. Like, there's too many details to go into. You can go into housing, mass immigration, you can go into school ideologies. The whole thing is upside down. We've never seen anything like this before in this country, or the Western world. And it's happened across the Western world. There's massive influence from the EU, the WEF, and unfortunately we can't trust members of the state or democratically elected officials. So something has to step in and replace that. So we're trying to build a structure that has different committees to harness people's expertise, and we want our members to be part of that as well. So if you had experience yourself in, say, marketing, or media, or education, or health, then you can find your voice in a committee and help with the policies, and we can build something new together. You know, it won't be me and Martin making all the policies. We could create a base policy and then let the experts take it. And the experts could be yourselves. There's people, you know, there's nurses in there, there's doctors in there, there's teachers who are sick of what's going on in the country in there, who have to walk away from their fields but want to help in some way. And this kind of provides a bit of help in an educational, positive way, productive way. So it's giving people back their power in that regard. I'd like to see a day where, if we build this correctly, we could get these people out of it all, and someone from that health committee could be the Minister of Health. Someone from that education committee could be the Minister of Education. The same goes. At least they're trusted, they're educated, they're people. Martin's going to put on we have an intro video and a slideshow just to show a bit of structure. And look, I'd hope that people could welcome others, and you can go back today and say that this is something that's productive. We put a lot of work into this. Every week we sit down for a few Zooms, a few hours a night. It's tedious, and we went through the Constitution, we were the libertarian values and Indigenous Irish kind of morals. It's a safe net to what the country needs now. Because I couldn't walk away from politics and think that my kids don't have a real chance of a future in this country, safe and affordable. So that's really what we're trying to do. And we're creating in a way that we want to welcome everybody else, all the members on board, to dig in with us. You know, I'm no more qualified than the next person in the room, so let's all get it together. My role as a party president, as a spokesperson to the AC, but these committees feed that AC, and we take the policy from them and we push it back down, and it works in the communication level, participation. It's really the way I think parties should. It's all transparent and open. So with that, I'd like Martin Murphy maybe to take over with the structure.
The day of guns and violence, unfortunately, is past. So, yeah, Pat's telling me I have to shout louder. We're in an information war. Those who can tug hardest at strings of Irish people are those that are going to have victory. And that is a reality. It's a sad reality, but this is the reality that we are living in. Look, unfortunately our microphones aren't working, so if you can't hear, I'm just going to say, just come a bit closer, pull the chairs a little bit closer, and try and shout as loud as I can. Be a grand idea. So Ireland First was founded, you probably all know the history of the party. Derek decided he was finished with politics. Derek reached out and offered Anthony Ireland First, so that Anthony could carry it on. So we didn't want to, Anthony and myself were going to continue in politics along with Paul Fitzsimons, Orla, Frank, but we didn't want to create a new party because it's flooding the market with nationalist parties and nationalist votes and just splitting the vote. So when the opportunity came to use an existing platform, it just made absolute sense. And Derek was happy, he just didn't want to do politics anymore. This platform was sitting there, we said absolutely, we will take this and carry on the legacy of what was created. So, but the reality, unfortunately, is the nationalist political sphere is in complete disarray. All nationalists are ankle-biting and spitting and spreading rumours and playground stuff. It's childish. It's absolute and utter nonsense. But some people seem to like that world. some of us have thought that maybe this is actually state interference because they don't want us to succeed. Some people it's just egos, some people it is just narcissistic behaviour, but the reality is it is a combination of fractured parties with great potential. The reality is we only succeed together. There is nobody I will not work with. There's nobody Anthony will not work with. There's nobody Frank, Paul, Sarah, Orla will not work with. But unfortunately, there are those that just don't play well with others. This is the reality. Here's also the reality of politics. It's won't bounce off the TV, unfortunately. It's a crude popularity contest. Politics is disgusting. It's a disgusting world where you put out Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have now decided to run out show ponies, ex-RT presenters and ex-Roses of Tralee, etc. Pretty faces who actually couldn't actually write a political policy if you paid them to. And there is dirty tactics there. It's not a nice world to live in, but unfortunately it's necessary. Politics touches every single part of our lives, whether we like it or not. My preference would be government has no bearing on my life whatsoever. That's my dream. That government does not touch my life in any way whatsoever. I don't need them. I don't want them. And I want to live in a society where government is literally there just for the basics, the very, very, very basics. Healthcare, maybe a small little input into education, but I believe education starts in the home. And a few other services like mental health services and a small safety net for those who can't. And we do have people who can't. There's a huge difference between people who can't and people who won't. So, who are we? We're a group of like-minded individuals. We're just ordinary people. Anthony Casey used to work for the court services. You've done podcasts. You used to do fitness stuff. You used to, what I mean? You're just ordinary Joe. So, Frank, lecturer down in WIT, teaches economics. Just a dad, husband, and a guy who works for a living. Paul Fitzsimons, absolute lunatic. Podcaster, like your story is absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? But just salt of the earth people. Sarah, basically, you had the last three years of your life working with Derek Blythe on a TV campaign and a new campaign. Sacrificed absolutely everything. 3 years of your life given up to help this country. And don't mind this funny food.
What's your name?
Martin. What are our goals and objectives, right? Okay, we want to mount a viable defence. Defence is a very important word because we are at war. The nation of Éire is at war with the state of Ireland, and they are two very distinct things. The state of Ireland is not your friend. Okay, you are a citizen of the nation of Éire. It's really, really important. One of the things that will most likely happen in the future is that Ireland will be taken off the name of this party, and it'll be something that will be discussed with the members. But the name of our country is Éire, E-I-R-E. That is our country. We are not Ireland. Ireland is a colonial name that was forced upon us. Okay, so it's very, very important. And the nation of Éire is not the state of Ireland. These are really, really important things that we need to start pushing, and we need to start fighting back against the state of Ireland. The party will be open to all nationalist-leaning people. There's going to be differences. There is hardcore nationalism, there is libertarian nationalism, there is national socialism, there is huge, huge, huge amounts of nationalism. There's all the flavours of the rainbow, even though I hate saying that word. The party is open. We're taking the rainbow back as well, because the rainbow is one of God's absolutely fantastic, most beautiful creations, and it was stolen from us by degenerates. And guess what? We're taking it back. Even those in existing political movements who wish to remain in their own party, we will speak to them. I want them advising us. I want open communications with all the leaders of the other nationalist parties. I want friendly terms and conditions. I want to sit down at a truce table and just speak and just say, can we agree on 5 policies that we all move forward that benefit the Irish people? No more backbiting and ankle-biting and nonsense. It has to pass because we're losing. Nationalism has been fighting in this country for 8 years and it has achieved absolutely nothing. 1 or 2 maybe small victories, but outside of that, it's achieved nothing. And that is because there are gatekeepers in place that don't want it to succeed. But we'll come to that. Beautiful, beautiful island. Core beliefs. So the nation of Éire belongs to the Indigenous Irish people. Our policies will endeavour to ensure that the Indigenous Irish people's interests are prioritised with regards to resources. So we strive to promote culture of era, language, tradition, arts, etc., etc. But the Indigenous people declare the institution of marriage between a man and a woman, on which the family is founded, and to protect it against attack. Again, taken directly from Bunnock na hÉireann. That is not anything new, that is in our constitution. Indigenous culture and language, the Irish language is a national language. Now, you'll be able to count on Skelga, Mar Tommy, Hamadan, Sisco. Okay, that's about the extent of the Irish I have. But we actually have thousands of words, and we should actually start using it a little bit. We should say homogen, and we should just greet each other in Irish and just pick it up a little bit. None of us will probably become Gaelboers again if we've lost it, unless you're from a Gaelic area. Unless you're from a Gaelic area, you're not going to be speaking it all the time. But there's no problem with us picking up a few words again. Why don't we just say hello, goodbye, and thank you in Irish? It's very, very Duolingo. It's very easy. Pick up a few little things. We'll get back into it. And if the younger generation see us doing it, they will want to pick it up. Their curiosity will make them want to learn Irish again. Like the school system does not teach Irish. It just doesn't work. But if we're having a little bit of banter in the, actually a silly idea is we should all have a pub night out sometime where you can only speak Irish. It'd be absolutely hilarious. It'd be good. But if you make something fun, you force yourself to learn. And we'll kind of go to in letters, or where is the letters, or whatever, or how to order a pint, or how to order whiskey, or ishkadaha, or whatever. If we make it fun again, people will start picking it up again. And it's important that we should be proud of our language. You have to remember, colonial powers stole our language off us. They stole it from us. They brought people into the cities and made you embarrassed to speak your language. This is in our history. My grandmother, my great-grandmother told me this, that basically if you went to the city you weren't allowed to speak Irish because that was the commoner's tongue, that's what the country folk did. And that's how they weaned it out of us. Support education respects and teaches Irish culture and heritage. Economic freedom, really, really important. Economic freedom by recognising the rights of property and the rights to basically do business in this country. At present, if there's any SMEs or somebody who owns a small business, you get absolutely, excuse the phrase, raped by the government. Absolutely, there's no other word for it. Taxation is theft. 50% of your income. You get punished for doing well, for being successful in this country. Sorry, you get punished for doing well and being Irish in this country. Yes. If you're foreign, you get 60,000 euros over 3 years and tax-free loans, etc., etc. Not good enough. I'm currently at the minute trying to promote small and medium enterprises to stop paying tax. There's a concept, I think it came from Australia, where you put the money into a separate account. You tell the government, you tell revenue, you have the money to pay them, but they're not getting it until they can prove that that money has been spent wisely. Revenue will not be able to prove that. Yet they will not be able to, because you're not refusing, you're just telling them the money's there, you have the money, you're just not releasing it until they prove to you what it's going to be spent on. Do you remember those? I miss those. I miss those so much. That was freedom. That was the freedom we gave away, giving those away. And it's going to be very, very hard to get them back. Do people know that one of the conditions of joining the EU is we had to destroy our printing presses? That the nation of Era no longer actually has the ability to print notes anymore. They didn't tell you that, did they? There. Social order and justice. The state shall, in particular by its laws, protect as best it may from unjust attack, and in the case of injustice done, vindicate the life, person, good name, and property rights of every Indigenous citizen. So, that is again taken directly from Bunnock. But I can actually list 4 or 5 people off the top of my head. Philip Dwyer's one, for example, who was arrested illegally. There was Paul, tried to the courts. There's another. There's been numerous people who have not received justice. They've been targeted for having their beliefs that they're allowed to have under the Constitution. We have a problem. Our judiciary and our government are not separate. They used to be separate, but they're no longer separate. The judiciary now answers to the state. And that is not justice. So the very first thing, if we were ever to take Dáil Éireann, the very first thing I would work towards is ensuring every single judge gone, out, done, and dusted. If you were sitting there before we came into power, you were gone, you were done. I don't care what you do. Go off to whatever island you want, I don't care. You're gone. You betrayed the core concept of the judiciary, which was supposed to be separate from the government. Civil law. I don't know, is anybody old enough to remember petty courts or would it? Yeah, he's in the back there, Pat. Do you remember petty courts? The law used to be real simple in this country. It was a grievance between two people. It didn't.
Pat is in petty coats.
Huh? Not petty courts, petty courts, Bob. But there was a time where you didn't have to give 15 to 20,000 euros to a solicitor to get justice. You literally went to the petty courts, and if there was a dispute, it was they were lower court magistrates, were they? Yeah, a local judge basically sat down, heard both sides of the story, and just made a decision there and then. He's right, you're wrong. You give him 4 sheep, and that was it. And nobody profited from it. So our justice system has turned into an economy. So that has to be stopped, because nobody will get justice as long as solicitors are stealing money. We've so much wrong with this country. And there, yeah, there's the pictures to represent the story. Again, beautiful. Look at that beautiful island. Neutrality and peace. This government has made enemies of 2 nuclear powers in the space of 5 years. 2 nuclear powers. A country that has a standing army of less than 8,000 active soldiers. The EU is trying to push Ireland into an EU army. My son is in the armed forces. I will not have my son die for Lockheed Martin or some other arms company. I will not allow it to happen. And I will personally take up arms to stop that happening. Because if this government sends my son to war, it's fair game. It is simple as that. We are a tiny island nation with a population of less than 5 million people, although they're probably lying about it. We probably have an awful lot more foreigners than we actually think. We have no business meddling in international affairs. We're not big enough, we're not important enough. The only thing this country should do is offer a table. You may come to Ireland, you may sit at our table, and we will mediate peace talks. Outside of that, this country has no business on taking sides. You can have your personal opinion. You can side with Israel, Gaza, Russia, Ukraine. That is your personal opinion. The nation of Éire should never take sides, because if we are a truly neutral country, we just say, there is our table. When you're ready to negotiate, we will facilitate that. Outside of that, no opinion. And I'm going to reiterate again, your government, well, they're probably not any of your government, but the government that is in place at the minute made an enemy of 2 nuclear powers. 2 of them in their term. Never has that. We even got through the Second World War without actually having to take a side. The most devastating war in the history of mankind, and we got through it. Yet this government has, we had there was 1 or 2 incorrect bombings where the Germans actually thought they were bombing Belfast and they bombed Dublin. I think it happened twice. But outside of that, we were pretty much unscathed. Down in Kerry, they used to hide the German guys who got shut down. You know what I mean? Because they disliked we certainly the King or Kaiser kind of thing. But this government, and people don't seem to be worried about that. If Russia decided that you just wanted to make an example of us because of our government, even though the Russians bear the Irish people no will, they bear the nation of Ireland no ill will. But the state of Ireland got too big for their boots. Like that. One decision, one phone call. Ireland is gone. And they wouldn't even have to use weapons. They could use cyber attacks, they could use... Israel is the same. Israel is probably one of the most dangerous nations on the planet. The Jewish question is for another day. But you do not make enemies of the Irish person. We spent hours, and I'm not joking, hours and hours debating this. Okay, what is accepted? What actually is an Indigenous Irish person? What can we put to the people? I'm not saying this is right. All I'm saying is this is what we came up with, and this is what we're going to offer to the people. Okay? We recognise an Indigenous Irish person as someone who has a genetic connection, direct genetic link to the population of Éire prior to the formation of the state. So you get family here before 1916. You're Irish. There could be 14 or 15, it could be, your mother married somebody from outside the country, but as long as there's that genetic link, you've got Irish blood in you, you're Irish. Some won't agree with that, but we have to be fair. We can't go, no, you have to be 100% pure blood. It doesn't exist anymore. My family have had their genetics done. I can tell you that I am extremely Irish just from where my people came from. My people came from islands off the west of Galway and islands off Donegal. My people were pirates. We have very, very, very little Irish foreign DNA in us. But what we do have is Spanish, because the Spanish were off the west of Ireland all the time, helping us fight against the English. What do the Spanish bring with them? They bring Middle Eastern DNA, because most of Spain was conquered by the Moors in history. The Islamists had the whole Iberian Peninsula. So asking for 100% purity, no, that can't ever happen, because none of us are. But once you've got a genetic connection to the land, that's it, that's fine. Grandfather rule. Anybody remembers Italian 90? Yeah, well, exactly, you know what I mean? So, look, it's a good rule to have. If you've got a grandparent that was Irish, and you still carry that genetic connection to the land, then you're Irish. You can be black as the ace of spades, but you're still Irish. You've got Irish blood in you. You're Irish. Cultural and linguistic heritage. We touched on that already, so I'll move on. We should be speaking the Cúpla Focal every single day. This gets into who's not Irish. Exclusion from citizenship and property ownership. Those without a genetic connection, regardless of how long how long their ancestors have resided in an era, are excluded from achieving normal citizenship. You have no connection to this land, you should not be allowed to become a citizen. You can live here, and I want you to live here. If somebody wants to come and make a life in Ireland and drink pints and watch hurling and just keep up their end of the social contract, more power to you. We're actually great people and it's a lovely place to live, bar the weather. Okay? But you can't become a citizen. No more than I can go to Japan or Nigeria or anywhere else and become Nigerian or Japanese. I can't do it. So why do we tell this lie? Why is the Western world told this lie? That other people can come here and automatically become Irish. You can't. I cannot ever be Nigerian. I cannot ever be Japanese. I cannot ever be a native New Zealand. Maori, thank you very much. So, we want to protect our culture and heritage. We want to protect who we are. But we're not telling anybody can't come here. I want tourism. I want foreigners coming here. Come spend your money, come here for a month, spend loads of money, enjoy our rivers and hills and scenery, and enjoy our culture, and then go home. You know what I mean? If you want to live here, if you marry an Irish person, you won the lotto, whether you're a man or a woman. Well done. You've done the best thing you could do. You've married an Irish person. There's no better people on the planet. But you should not be allowed to own property. And citizenship should be earned over a grueling 10-year period, where you have to do things that we don't have to do, because we have a birthright. If you want to be an Irish citizen, that's fine. You're an Irish. We don't have to, because we're connected to the land. You have to contribute to society. We don't want a welfare state. We don't want spongers coming over here. We want people who can contribute and make this island better. I'm not going to go through that. It's just a recap of the policies. This to me. So yeah, we do have a figure, right? It's not achievable right now, but in the future, what you'll be looking at for a good functioning society. This is actually taken from some other EU countries. You want about 90%. You want to be 90% indigenous. That will give you a good society. Hungary and Poland, they're pretty much there. It's not undoable. And like I said, we're going to be very far up. That's going to take time to do. It is going to take time to do, because you also have to be fair. You have to be fair with people. Okay, so the party will be new. We'll talk about structure for a second. We're nearly done now. There's only got another 5 or 10 minutes left in this. Okay. The party will be unique in that, although we'll have a president, which is Anthony Casey, but he's already referred to himself as a spokesman. Anthony has 1 vote on the AC. That's it. 1 vote. The same as everybody else. But he's the guy brave enough to put his face out there and take all the crap that we don't have to take. And that's what Anthony does 7 days a week. Takes the crap. Structure. I don't know if people at the back can see that, right? The biggest box there is membership. That is the most important thing. Everything outside of that, if your party does not have an active membership, you're at nothing. So we're actually going to ask you to do work. Every single person here, we're going to ask you to do work. We're not just going to ask for your money and give you a card and a pen. We're going to ask you to do work. We want you on committees. We have a huge amount of committees. Community watch groups, law and protection, commons, fundraising committees, policy committees, social media people, media committees, tradition and culture committees, party finance. There's about 7 or 8 more committees that have been actually created since I made that slide. And every single AC member, so the AC is our Corla, which just basically means the top table in Irish. Every single one of these AC members is going to sit on a committee. So you have direct access to the party leadership. It's not Anthony sitting on his throne and me sitting beside him as the court jester and we're just all coming up with ideas and we say this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. That's not how it's going to work. You tell us what we need to do. You come up with an idea. We'll polish it up, send it back to you. Is this what you were thinking? And if you go, yeah, we'll vote on it and then we'll put it out there and it will form policy. And that's it. That's all politics is. It's just basically forming policy. I don't have all the answers. He doesn't have all the answers. Together, we might be able to find the answers. And that's what we're going to ask you to do as members. You're going to start getting emails asking you to tell us what you do. How can you contribute? And then we're going to give you work. And I'm not lying about it. We're going to give you work. Because we cannot do this alone. It's about membership. It's about all of us together. Why are the protests successful? Some people say they aren't. What is the essence of the protest? It's the movement of people. That's all it is. Forget the speeches at the end. The meet and greets at the start are lovely. It is literally a mass of people moving from point A to point B saying no. That's it. That's all it is. And if you can do that, you've had a successful protest. That's all that matters. A mass of people moving from point A to point B. The start doesn't matter, the end doesn't matter. Speeches aren't even required. Because it is the people of Era that are going to fix this. Yeah, that's it. It's not going to be me, it's not going to be him, it's not going to be Frank, it's not going to be any leader of any other political party. And if they say to you that they're the solution, they're a liar. Beware of liars. It's about the people. And that's all that matters. So that's why this box is the biggest. Because you're the most important. Without you, we're just 4 voices talking waffle. I thought there was another slide. I'm actually all fired up now. I want to be. Okay, we're going to open the floor to a Q&A.